Hey dude, you're a massive American yanktank muscle car fan.
Oh hell yeah.
How have you reacted to hearing that Dodge are no longer going to be making V8 muscle cars or anything like that anymore, that basically the SRT line is gone?
Yeah, that, I have to admit, I was gutted. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're in a country where, I mean, the SRT line for me is way out of my grasp anytime soon. I've not got enough money to be buying muscle cars, but I'm like you said, I'm a huge muscle car fan. I have been since I was a kid. I always loved muscle cars and things like that. And I mean, even like my old man always told me. I mean, he had a Pontiac Firebird.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was funny because I mean, for years I told him I remember seeing a picture of it. He said there wasn't any pictures of that car, and then he found it one day. And he said, "Yeah, you were right. You did see a picture of it, red one, because I remember it was red with a gold eagle on the bonnet." And yeah, beautiful car, but he had the straight six model, not a V8. But it was a 70s version. And I mean, and he said that was one of the, I think he said that was the worst car he ever owned.
Yeah.
He said because it was absolutely massive like a boat, yet it wouldn't fit my buggy in the boot because I was a kid at the time. And he said, and it was slow as anything. And he said, and it handled like a canal barge. He said it was just, it was a terrible car to drive on the UK roads and stuff. But I mean, I think a V8 might have changed his mind a little bit about it personally. But I mean, and despite, he told me that all the way through me growing up, but I always loved muscle cars, always have. And the V8 engine, it actually genuinely gives me goosebumps. It's like, there's scenes in Drive Angry, the film with Nick Cage in it, and the scenes in that when he's driving that Charger, there's a bit where the camera pans out and you can hear that 440 just like cackling down the road, and even thinking about it now is almost giving me goosebumps. But that V8 noise in that part of the film is just like, oh, and it gives me goosebumps. So I mean, it's something that we kind of all knew that was coming, I would have said, because with the age of the electric car and everything that we're just about to enter into, and hydrogen and all the rest of that we've done another video on about the EV and the future of hybrids and everything.
Well, the thing is they've been taken over by the Stellantis group, and that is their main aim, is to get most, like, is Peugeot, Citroen, and quite a few other car brands under that thing. And their aim is to get most of the brands that they own onto EV.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, for those of you who don't know, I mean, in this country, in the UK, I believe that it's also sort of shortened down to the PSA group, which is, it's Peugeot. They own Vauxhall now. They took them off of a GM. I don't know if they might own Holden or anything like that. I don't think they do. I think GM still own all of them, but I know they took Vauxhall in our country.
They've got a lot of brands under their umbrella.
Yeah, a lot of them, and I think it's a massive shame personally, because I mean, I've always been a muscle car fan. I like the Mustangs, I always have done, and there's certain Mustangs out there which I would love to own, but I've always been more of a Mopar fan personally. I've always loved the Dodge Challenger, the 70 and the new one. The Dodge Charger, I always loved it, but it's in every film, everything like that. Whereas, so I mean, the 70 Challenger, like out Vanishing Point, and out of there was another film I was just thinking of with one in, but yeah, just beautiful cars. And the Hemi noise, that Hemi V8 is just and the 440, just that burble on idle, the cackle, and I was lucky enough, I've driven a couple, and around the track I drove 4 cars that day around the track up in Tockwith in York with Rory. We're actually going out on a track next month as well, so we'll do a video of that, but it'll probably come on the channel probably next year, I imagine, because the amount of content we've got saved up. But yeah, we went out on a track, and me being a muscle car fan, the first car I chose was a 2016 or 2018 Camaro SS supercharged, with a manual 6-speed box in, modern one. It was beautiful to drive. That thing was absolutely awesome, and the noise, the whine of that supercharger with that V8 was just all the way around the track. It was incredible. And the second car I chose to drive was a Dodge 1969 Dodge Charger RT, I think it was.
Oh, the 440?
Yeah, and it was actually a genuine Dukes of Hazzard car. I don't know if it was from the film, the newer film, or the older one, but it was a genuine Dukes of Hazzard one, because they actually had on the back panel, they actually had it signed by the original cast.
Oh, no way.
And it was one of their cars, but that thing was, I think it was, to me, it was a massive disappointment, that car. It was one of those things, never meet your heroes, because it was a beautiful car to drive, and you could feel it had power. But I think because they fitted power steering for it, because they said they had a few people on the track that were struggling to turn the steering. But I think it destroyed the car, because you'd hit the tiniest bump and it would throw the car a foot to the left or a foot to the right. It felt like something was loose underneath. I mean, it might have been, I don't know. I didn't do any mechanical checks, but it was horrible to drive. Then I drove a 1969 Shelby Fastback Mustang.
Yep.
That thing was awesome. And again, it was the same sort of setup, but that one had but it still had the original everything. It had manual brakes, manual steering, manual everything, and it was wicked to drive. It was like driving an old Escort to me, but with a thumping great V8 in the front. It was wicked. And then the last car I drove was actually non-muscle. It was a JDM Superstar. It was actually a detuned ex-Nismo Race R34 Skyline.
Oh, nice.
And it came originally with 1180 horsepower, but it was detuned to 690 for that day. And they said they wanted to detune it more, but they couldn't, because it wouldn't run at below 690.
No way.
And it actually had a switch inside which switched it from the full power down to thingy, down to like half. And I asked them if they could put it on full. They said no. But that was but those muscle cars were amazing. I tell you what, even though the Charger I say was a letdown, it's because in the action films it looks like they're doing everything effortlessly. But I mean, it was still just so cool to drive it and to be there as part of that. And
I think the thing is a lot of us realise, especially over here with the way that European cars handle compared to, you know, like America, they say, oh, it's all straight roads or grids and everything like that. We all know they're not going to handle great. We all know they're a bit underpowered, but like you say, it's the sound, it's how they look, it's everything like that. But it does make you wonder, well, if they're going to scrap the V8s from Dodge, how long is it going to be before like
everyone else follows suit?
Yeah,
and
you know, if Ford stopped doing them,
things like
if Chevy stopped doing them.
Well, that's it. I mean, like with Ford, you've got the E-Mac Mustang and things like that. So what's to say that's going to be the only Mustang choice you get in the future? And it's a massive shame, because I mean, for me, Dodge did it different to everyone else because they were absolutely insane. They took that minivan thing, didn't they, and stuck a Hellcat engine into it.
They did the Trackhawk, and they did the Durango, wasn't it? That was
the Durango, and they did the off-road thing. It was just like, yeah, this is a really nice car. Let's see how fast and ridiculously insanely powerful we can make it. And it was just, that is one thing I always tip my hat to Dodge for. Is just like, you guys were killing it. That was absolutely brilliant. And I have to admit, I am genuinely gutted you're not going to be doing the SRT line anymore, if any of you are listening from Dodge. But it was I have to admit, amazing. When you think back on all the cars they've done, I love the Chargers, the Challengers, even like the old was it the Dart that Dodge did?
Dodge Dart.
Like go back to their heritage and things like that. And you think of the race cars they've done over the years. Well, like you think about like back to the early NASCAR when they had the Daytona, that big massive wing on it. Dodge, there was the Charger Daytona, wasn't it? And they did, what was the other? There was another version of it that looked very similar. I'm going to kick myself because I'm going to remember what it is later, but I can't now.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely brilliant cars, and they were just. That thing was mad. That would do 200 mile an hour back in like the late 60s. And that's what I mean. They've always had a really good racing pedigree. Really beautiful cars, and like I say, and those Hemis and everything else, those V8s were just so brilliant. And I know you said about being underpowered, but again, it's like like the Shogun we're sat in. I mean, it's a different breed of animal. I'm not trying to compare this to a Dodge, but it's a 3-litre V6 petrol with like 160 something horsepower, 168, 169 horsepower from the factory. But I mean, it's 159,000 miles now. Original box, original engine. It's not showing much signs of giving up yet, touch wood.
No.
So, but the Yank V8s were the same, weren't they? The thing is, if you left them standard, they would go in for like 250,000 miles.
Oh,
and things like that plus. And that's the difference. I think it's because they're big engines not being put under a lot of stress. They seem to last for such a long time, and it's really good. And my dream is still, I would love to LS swap my E46 Beamer, and they do a kit for it. And funny enough, that kit is actually about the same price as supercharging it. Because I looked into that, I'd love to supercharge the straight six that's in there, because that would make it a powerhouse. It'd be an M3, it'd keep up with M3 or be an M3 killer. Yeah, the thing is, it costs. I've worked it out. Roughly, a good supercharger kit for that car is roughly about £5,000, or it was before the big boom and everything going up. It's probably more now. Yet you could pick up a full conversion kit for that for an LS1 V8 for. Or I think you can put Hemis in them, but not very many people have. I think usually people go for the LS swap because that's what everyone goes for. But I'm sure the full kit with the engine mounts, everything bar the exhaust, I think it was like about the same, about 5,000. So it's like, Yeah, if I had 5k to spend on that thing and I had the choice between a supercharger or a V8, I know which one I'd go for.
Well, this is the thing: is the LS swap has become such a popular engine swap. You know, like you get people talking about like the 1JZs and the 2JZs, but
Especially
none of that would have been as popular as it is without the muscle cars that they came in originally.
That's the thing, because I mean, I know the LS is going off topic a bit because that's Chevy, but I mean, you think
It's
like
still an American V8, isn't it?
that's it, and a lot of people put in Hemis in hot rods and things like that. Like you have the old hot rods, and some people stick with the flat heads and things like that. But a lot of people that wanted insane power put in Hemis in. It's because they were so good in the cars they came in originally that they were brilliant, and there was also a lot of other sister companies, weren't there, with Dodge? Like, was it Plymouth were part of the same group?
I believe so, yeah.
I believe it. I know that they've had a few crossovers over the years as well. Like, I'm sure that like freaking Buick or someone did a crossover with them for one of their cars or something. And I mean, I could be wrong. I hope I'm not making any muscle car fans.
To be fair, there've been so many crossovers with brands. It's hard to remember which ones have and which ones haven't these days.
Yeah, that's it. I know there was Chrysler for a while as well.
Chrysler and Maserati.
Yeah, and Chrysler and Talbot.
Yeah.
They've actually, funny enough, because there was actually a thing the other day, damn it again, I've forgotten names, my mind's gone blank, it always does when we're recording, but there was a guy who did a fuel vapor car, and it was out of a Chrysler Horizon or something like that, I think it called it in the States, but when I looked at it, it's a Talbot Sunbeam in this country.
Yeah.
Same body, same everything. So there was a lot of crossovers, but I mean, going back to the V8s, I mean, I'm still determined I want a V8 before I can't have one anymore, and that is the thing. But I mean, my budget is very small. I can't afford a yanktank, so I mean, I've been looking at a lot of the British ones. I've been looking not so much what a lot of people I'm guessing would be thinking is Range Rover, things like that, which, I mean, I've got a truck I love my V6, but I've been looking at things like Jags with V8s in, some of the Mercs, some Beamers and Audis, but again, they're well out of my price range. But I really, really want to own one day. That is my dream. If I can own at least one V8 before they go completely out, then I'd be happy. I could die a happy man then.
Well, to be fair, I think your closest you could probably get for your kind of budget, if you're able to stretch it a little bit, would be the old 300s.
Oh, 300, yeah, I love the Chrysler 300C Hemi. That is what I've been looking at, because that is like a poor man's Charger, really.
Yeah.
And it's well, it's not even well, yeah, it is. In this country, it's in America, you might like write me off for saying this, but in this country, you can pick up a Chrysler 300C Hemi for around about 5k.
Yeah.
If you look at the right time, whereas the cheapest Charger you'll find in the UK is usually around about 10. So it is around about half a price, but you look at it, and a lot of it is very similar. So they're
very similar in size and everything like that.
I believe the bodies and the chassis pans and stuff are very, very similar as well, if not the same. But it's so yeah, I'd love one of them, or because that's a proper American one.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been looking at the Jag XJ series, because you can get an XJ8, things like that, for under 2,000. So I mean, that's why I've been looking, because I mean, to be honest, I can't even stretch to that right now.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things. And to be honest, the muscle car is part of the reason I actually settled on Little Devil, my E46 Beamer, because whilst I know a lot of people be thinking, what the hell are you on about? Because it's German for a start, so it's not American in any way, shape or form. It's a straight six engine, not a V8, so it's nothing like that. But it's a 3-litre engine in a saloon car with rear-wheel drive and a manual gearbox, and at the time it was a cheap car to buy at the time, and I brought it because I said at the time, this is the closest I'm going to get to muscle now. Yeah. And to be honest, before I brought it, I was actually looking at possibly taking out a loan to buy a £5,000 Mustang, but it was a 2002 model with a 4.6 GT, and it had a 6-speed manual box in it, up in London, and it was going for about 4,000 something, just shy of £5,000. And originally on the website it says we do finance, because it was a car sales place. So I asked them how much a finance would be, because I asked Zara if I could do it, and she said yes at the time. But the guy said that he couldn't do finance on it because it was an import, but he had a mate who could do personal loans, and I thought, well, that sounds a bit yeah. I didn't really fancy someone coming and offering to break my legs or take my car off me after I paid £5,000 for it. So I thought that sounded a bit dodgy, but yeah, so I went for the E46 came up then, I bought that, and it never fails to put a smile on my face. But like I say, again, what you've got to understand, if you're watching from a different country, is in the UK, probably 90% of the cars we got on our roads are front wheel drive. Yeah. And then you probably got about the other 7%. Well, so realistic terms, probably about 80% of our cars are front wheel drive. There's probably about another 13% that are four wheel drive, and then the other 7 are probably rear wheel drive. There's not that many in our country, so, and to be honest, there's not that many that are readily available. So like I say, BMW with a big 3-litre engine, 230 horsepower, that was me sold on that. Big engine, rear wheel drive, and like I say, that's the closest I've been to muscle, and it's one I want a muscle car still, and I always will.
But anyway, guys, if you want to let us know how you feel about the death of a American muscle icon, and you know how the car world is going in terms of companies changing to EVs and moving away from ICE and everything like that, let us know, because you know, as the time goes on, more and more companies are going to be doing similar kind of things, and there may be other lines and other engines and stuff that we may never see again. Yeah, and let us know what your dream muscle car would be. Because like I said, I mean, people are not just saying this is the death of Dodge, they're saying it's the death of muscle car, so let us know what yours would be. If you've got memories of a muscle car that you know about, like if your dad had one, if you got like taken to school in it, if you drove one to high school or whatever, or you had one here in the UK you got married with and like taken your wedding in or whatever, let us know. As I say, we always love to hear from you guys, so yeah, it'd be good to hear what your stories, what your thoughts, what your feelings are about it all. So yeah, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, like always, leave a like below to let us know. Subscribe to see the rest of, like, or a lot of our other content, and also hit that notification bell so that YouTube will actually let you know when we release something new. But thanks guys, I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.